it was my decision to leave, but so I just loved all these stories like, oh my God, Anna and I were fighting. Anna and I, we text each other all the time. I thought it was a great idea that the sort of this denim company we hadn't heard of in a while had her, and then I read all the messaging and I'm like, okay. It's almost like anything goes right now. This is the perfect time to be able to shape an industry.
Do you fear that the fashion industry is reverting to type and to a time a couple of decades ago when basically a very particular, quite narrow model of
Eurocentric,
beauty.
yeah.
Eurocentric.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that?
I think we're potentially going back to sort of an industry that's just sort of one type is the norm. You know, being European is the norm. Being super thin is the norm. But also we're in an industry in flux at the moment because designers are leaving houses. It's a bigger picture. Designers are leaving houses. You know, new designers are being brought in, then they're taken out. But the exciting thing about now is it's almost like anything goes right now. This is the perfect time to be able to shape an industry.
And just to push on one thing, which is why do you think that is potentially happening? Is it, do you think, partly a kind of cultural anti-woke moment?
Oh, I think it's definitely a cultural moment. You know, I mean, woke is a dirty word. I mean, yeah, you know, anything that is, you know, we see what's happening in the world politically. So anything that's not, you know, deemed as quote unquote normal or the norm is seen as wrong.
What did you make of the Sydney Sweeney moment a few weeks ago?
I know Sydney, actually.
What did you make of that? What did you make of that? Was this,
I mean, she's having a great moment. She's sort of the it girl in Hollywood. I thought it was a great idea that the sort of this denim company we hadn't heard of in a while had her, and then I read all the messaging and I'm like, okay.
Well, jeans became a kind of jeans, as in jeans, the trousers became a kind of synonym for jeans, Genes. But did you find that, did you feel uncomfortable at the politicization of that?
I just feel like we're living in safe times. Everybody wants to be very safe. Everyone's being super careful. Everybody, you can read into what anybody says, whatever way you want. I think we're living in that time. So people are really, really super, super careful. I thought people really read into it probably deeper than I would have. But then also on the other hand, I guess if you have a blonde woman sitting there talking about her jeans, it will trigger some people. So I feel like, you know, yeah, the population's quite divided really, isn't it?
When we last met, which was the first time we met, you were editor of British Vogue.
Yes.
And I tried very, very, very hard, and I think possibly successfully, to avoid two words, which I thought were just needlessly awkward. And those two words were Anna Wintour.
Oh my God.
You're no longer the editor of British Vogue.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you about kind of your departure from there and what you've done since. Were you sort of surprised at the fact that it ended? And are you glad that it ended? Because here we are now, you're launching something new.
When my book came out, I came on your show. And I thought I'd said all I need to say. I'd sort of changed an industry where diversity was concerned. 6 years in, looking at every magazine, September covers, you had women of color. Everywhere I looked, I felt my work was done. And to be honest with you, when I kind of took the job, I gave myself 5 years and I did 6. I lasted 6. And I remember I sat with Anna Wintour and Roger and I was like, I'm done. And they were really so wonderful. They said, can you give us, you know, a year? Let's bring in a successor. This is, you know, brought in Chilma. So it was my decision to leave. But so I just loved all these stories like, oh my God, Anna and I were fighting. Anna and I, we text each other all the time. You're going to see us together. But she was actually very supportive because I was leaving a secure place to go into a world that was probably, and you know, and I remember clearly sitting in Paris with her at the Ritz, and she's like, you know, rather than stepping out into this, why don't we just sort of, you work with me, still help with Europe, and let's bring in a new person. So that was,
because I'm afraid to tell you, and you know this better than I do, maybe you don't read this stuff. That is not how your departure was written up. Your departure was written up as Edward Enninful was going to be the successor to Anna Wintour, but Anna Wintour crushes all of her successors, won't allow it, and therefore he was forced out.
Not at all. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can speak to Anna about it. But the funny thing is, you know, look, I've been in that position for 6 years and I really sort of stopped reading everything and I would never take anything personally. And there were so many times I could have spoken, but I thought, the only time I'm going to speak is when I have something to speak about, which is now.
Save it for Radical with Amol Rajan. We're honoured.